And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bald Guy and the Fat Boy. I'm the Bald Guy, joined by my buddy, the Fat Boy, right over there.
Bad?
Oh man, it hurts to say that this week, doesn't it?
No, it never. See, that's what you don't understand. Uh, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, the result of the game that hurts. But
Yeah.
I'm an Alabama fan. At any time, I mean, yeah. See, but a lot of people don't know this. I gotta start back from the beginning. I was an Alabama fan.
Hey,
We
hold on. Could you say hi to everybody before you just jump in there and start
we start.
defending?
Good grief! You're right. I apologize.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Hello, and thanks for coming on to the podcast and attention. But I got a lot of Alabama pinup, especially with what you seen yesterday, which I had never seen it either. But it's
Hey, Vanderbilt had never seen it either. They were as surprised as anybody.
yeah, and I'm not gonna see. It's gonna sound here in a little bit. It's gonna sound like I'm making some excuses,
Uh-huh.
and I might be, but
Yeah, I bet.
I might be, but it's really not. So what I was trying to say before I was rudely interrupted,
Uh-huh.
before Nick Saban got here, I was an Alabama fan.
Okay.
When Mike Shula was here, you know who Mike Shula is?
Yep.
Who is he?
Isn't he Don Shula's brother?
Son,
Son, there you go.
son. Who was before Don Shula?
I mean, how far back are we going?
We're gonna go back to when I started being a true.
I mean, are you old enough to have watched him during the Bryant years?
No, I'm not that old.
Okay.
I
Uh,
started in the Gene Stalling days.
okay.
First thing I started out when I was the same year that Gene Stallings took them to play Miami in the Sugar Bowl against the Miami Hurricanes. It's the same year that Dallas won the first Super Bowl in '92. So I was a young, impressionable, new fan, and I had really was into football when I was that age. Cause I was about 16 years old, and Alabama was very relevant then. And Gene Stallings took them to beat Miami, and then some of the players like Sherman and George Teague was on that team and everything. Those players came to the Dallas Cowboys, so it just kind of commingled.
Right.
It hit me right in the feels. Then later on, it just pissed everybody off in Texas, so I stayed with it, and it just became a huge. The root word of fan is fanatic. I just became fat and fanatical about it, and then I got tattoos with it, and I mean, it's just a big thing. So yes, I live, and I mean, this is I mean, when I say I live and die, I mean it's just that's how fanatical people talk about when their team either wins or loses, wins big
Right.
games, loses big games, loses to bad teams, things like that. So I said all that to say this. This is the first weekend I felt like the old days before, and when I call the old days is before Saban, since '07, since before the old days. The last game I went to, it was pre Sabian. I went to a game. It was at the Cotton Bowl at the old Cotton Bowl Stadium before the Cotton Bowl was ever moved to Jerry World, and they were playing Texas Tech, and Alabama in 2006 won on the ugliest knuckleball, 13-10 you'd ever seen against Texas Tech. And I sitting amongst 2,000 Texas Tech people with all my Roll Tide stuff on, all my Alabama gear on, and just rooted for them like they were, because they were in Texas and they were at the Cotton Bowl. And my wife bought me a ticket. I mean, but I was a fan before then. But I mean, I was really a big fan that day. And then the next year, here comes Saban. And
it all turned around for you.
No, not '07 didn't.
Well,
07, Saban's first year, we lost on Louisiana Monroe or Appalachian State or somebody. It was terrible. '07 was terrible. Then '08 got a little better, and then '09 we beat Texas in the national title. So yes, it did get better, but '07 was a little rocky.
'07 was still tough. Yeah.
'07
Well,
was
y'all have been spoiled. Y'all are definitely a fan base. It's been
we're
spoiled to let's just say winning the games you're supposed to win.
Yes, we're New England's fault. New England Patriots fault. We're who else? Who else want to? We're Kansas City's fault. So it's hard to win all them games and get used to winning, and then not so much.
Yeah,
Because
well, I mean, y'all are still winning. It's not like
well,
y'all
wait
are
a minute.
bad.
I'm going to get to that. Let me tell
Okay.
my,
Uh,
because not to mention the fact I'm coming off an extreme high from the week before beating Georgia.
that's kind of what makes this the most funny, to be honest with you.
That's why I got a giggle out of you. I'm coming off an extreme high. We go to number one after all that BS, and then we lay an egg in at the Vanderbilt Commodore. Going back to the first team, I told you this last week on the last podcast. I went and saw them when Vanderbilt was so bad. It was cheap tickets, and they were still in the SEC then. So, but I got to give the Flyers what they're due. Vanderbilt came out with more juice. Vanderbilt came out with a very good strategy to beat us. What's the best way to beat somebody? How did they beat us, Charlie? Do you know any of the stats?
No, I'm assuming that they got up on y'all early and took you out of all your game plan that y'all had.
No, that's not how they beat us. Got to watch the damn
That,
game.
that did happen, but okay.
Well, let me tell you how they really beat us.
Okay, what'd they do?
Time of possession. We had the ball for 17 minutes of that football game. Total. Out of 60 minutes, Alabama had the ball for 17 minutes and 40 seconds.
Wasn't that because y'all kept giving it back to them, though?
No, they kept doing long sustained drives, and our defense did not have juice. They gave up a lot of intermediate plays. They moved the chains a lot. I don't think they had to make I don't think they had to make a third down hardly all night. These are compliments I'm giving to Vanderbilt. Why they won the game and why we lost the game.
So with me, basically, they figured out that as long as they were aggressive on first and second downs, that they didn't let you get to like third and long to where you could really get your pass rush after them or something like that and control the ball. That y'all can't play from behind, and whenever you got the ball, your whole game plan was out the window because y'all love to establish the run and work from that out to the long ball, and it just didn't work for you.
No, and then of course, with that strategy of keeping the ball on their side, what does that do? What does that do? Who's our best player? Who's our best two players?
Well, I mean, Jalen Milrow, I'm sure would be your number one. Who's your number two? Who do you think?
We 17-year-old phenom, the one he throws to.
Oh, your wide receiver, yeah.
And our running backs are not bad either, but all of them are on the sideline because they got the ball for the whole entire game. Which is great strategy. It just sucks if you're an Alabama fan.
Right. And I
Okay,
really thought y'all were going to come back on that. Like I was watching some
we
of it. I was
we
at a
were all,
wedding.
we also played against another. We also were playing against something else that we're right out of time. We're playing against the clock, and the clock wins every single
Yeah,
time.
but you weren't playing against the clock from the opening whistle, okay?
Actually, we never had a lead in that game. We never had a lead in Vanderbilt one time.
Well, I promise when they scored, they gave you the ball and you didn't do nothing with it.
It's hard to make my mouth form. We did not have the lead in Vanderbilt against Vanderbilt one time. I know Vanderbilt and anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday. I get that's the gist of that.
I don't think there was anybody that thought Vanderbilt could beat Alabama on this Saturday.
I could cuss right here, and I'm not going to. We were a 3-touchdown favorite, road favorite, and we never had the lead in that ball game, not one time.
Okay, well let me just tell you this. coming from a Texas fan, that was one of the most Texas-like things from years past at Texas that y'all could have done.
That doesn't. I don't mean to be rude to you, but that doesn't do nothing for me.
I'm just trying to let you know, man. I mean, losing games that you have no business losing is something Texas has had a habit of doing in the past.
Y'all, matter of fact, y'all did that a couple years ago when y'all had us and we squeaked out
I know.
against Alabama. So, but beside the point, Vanderbilt won the freaking game. I don't mean it. I know the result of the game. That's not what I mean. They beat us. They were the better. This is what I mean. They were the better team.
Yeah, and that is hard for you to say.
Whoo, that's hard for me to say. So now you ask, well, where does that leave? Well, we wasn't the only upset partner. Missouri down, Tennessee
Yeah,
down.
no, that hold on. Let's go back. That Missouri A&M game has me a little more concerned about Texas's last game of the year.
Well, we were going to talk about it, but I was giving you the rundown of who all the big powerhouses that went down were.
Okay, so who all joined y'all in the letting
Missouri
stuff
went
slip
down.
away?
Tennessee went down. Michigan went down. USC went down. It was a. It was like a like a big accident. It's just like people just strode
Hey,
everywhere.
I was so excited that Texas was off.
Miami almost went down. They had to make the most miraculous comeback in school history to keep from and won 39-38. Miami almost went down.
Georgia almost went down too.
Who?
Georgia.
Georgia played a bad first half, but they were never close in the second half.
Well,
Gotta watch the game. Don't watch that box score. That box score gets more people in trouble than anything I know. Because if you watch the game, Georgia struggled a little bit in the first half with Auburn, but if you watch the second half, Georgia just kicked the crap out of them in the second half. Just
yeah,
like,
well, I also feel like your view was probably a little shaded there, considering that you need to hang your hat on that Georgia win whenever y'all got beat by the Commodores.
no, we don't need to hang my hat on the Georgia win. We need to hang our hat on the who do we South Carolina win. We need to hang it on the Tennessee win. We need to hang it on the Oklahoma win, the Auburn win. All the ones we got coming up is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We can't lose another game.
No, you can't.
We talked about they changed the rules going into this season in the SEC. In years past, there was two divisions: North, East, and West. East and West. We were in the West. We were the SEC West, and a bunch of other teams, Florida, Tennessee, several other teams. They were in the East, and then the best team in the East played the best team in the West. That's gone.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist no more. That to me is just as big a deal as the playoffs is. The fact that we're determining the SEC the SEC championship participants by best record is also a big deal. I don't think it gets a. Well, you're an SEC guy now because you're Texas.
Yeah, now.
So, but you didn't have the old system. We had the old system, and I never really considered the old system being bad or good until now that we don't have it. We got one loss. I already missed the old system. So,
well, but you don't know as though the old system would have been better for you or not.
Well, better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Y'all are really. If y'all win out, y'all will be okay.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not worried about the playoffs. We're Alabama. We don't worry about the playoff as much as we want all the titles. We're trying to get.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but if you lose another game, you better start worrying about the 12-team playoff.
I agree with that, but I'm still wanting to play for the SEC championship. Much less the 12, the big one. We lose one more game. If we lose one more conference game, we're out of the SEC. we lose 2 more games total, we're out of the whole thing. We'll be 13th or lower.
Yeah, probably.
13 don't go to go, son. So it is what it is.
So y'all just got to get your stuff together. It's okay.
Now there was question. There was question. Did and I don't know that I subscribe to this.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question.
All
They had this discussion after the fact. Was the Alabama so relieved to have won that Georgia game and become number one that they let their guard down literally against Vanderbilt?
100%.
Is there any? Do you find? Did you find that there's any validity to a team doing that?
100%. Yes. That is exactly what happened. You've got a coach. This is his first year in there. He had no idea what to do with that success, the magnitude of that game. It's a bigger rivalry than he's been a part of that meant more. Okay. And yes, that game being so emotional got all those players hyped up. And it's hard to bring that energy the next week, especially for somebody that you've already wrote off your schedule as an automatic W way back before the season started.
Okay, so so Alabama messed up on several different levels going into the Vanderbilt game.
But that may be good for y'all because hopefully he learned his lesson and he won't let that happen again.
Okay, I'm not going to get. I've got other places I want to use excuses. I don't want to use that as an excuse. I've got other things I want to use as excuses, just not that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand why you wouldn't want to use, lack of coaching as the reason that y'all lost that.
Now we may get there,
But
but
well, now it's not even necessarily lack of coaching. It's lack of running a program of that status on that level.
that magnitude.
Yeah, because you have to understand when you're the coach at Alabama and you go play a big game, every week is going to be a big game. So you have to go back up there as soon as that's over, celebrate. Maybe you get Saturday evening to celebrate, but Sunday you're ready for Vanderbilt, even if it is just Vanderbilt. And that's how, if you prepare the same way every week, that's how you become champion.
It's also how you get your name on the field.
Probably.
I mean, in my opinion, I mean, to toot the man's horn before that was here before. I think that was one of the things. The sustainability that Saban showed is the reason his name is on the field.
Well,
Because
and you got to understand, beating Georgia, if you're Alabama, that's what you are supposed to expect to do. And it's not supposed to be this big accomplishment. You did your job. Now let's go do it again. Because winning that game was not what we were about. We're
yeah,
about SEC titles and national championships. And
correct.
you've just got to be able to instill that. And now he should have a coachable moment to be able to put that into the players' heads from here on out.
Well said. I don't like to give you compliments, but that was well said. Uh, so
Where we go?
yeah, well, the Vanderbilt. Did you see the aftermath of the Vanderbilt carry it? Did you see the carrying the goalpost down Broadway, Nashville,
No, no, I didn't.
all the way to the river, throwing the goalpost into the river?
That's awesome. No, I didn't.
Well, they did that. So, did you hear? Did you hear what the motivate? One of the big motivations of the quarterback for Vanderbilt was.
No. Who is a quarterback for Vanderbilt? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I ain't remember his name, but yeah, I know him now because I watched him run all over us. But his hero growing up, believe it or not, his hero growing up, the guy he modeled his career after, and his guy even wears the same number. He was a huge Johnny Manziel fan.
Oh, okay.
So in other words, this guy wanted to come in there against Alabama and put the Johnny Manziel on us,
And he did.
and he did. The only person I can remember the team that did that was Johnny Manziel, and came into Tuscaloosa and did it. So I just found that storyline, that backstory to the quarterback wanting to be the next. He really liked his style, everything. Wears his number, looks up to him, things like that. And now he's playing against Alabama and pulls kind of a Johnny Manziel. Okay, so after all that, we had all them. We had all those. I forgot another one. Yeah, I know I mentioned it. With all those uh, cream of the crop
Upsets. Okay.
go down. So now we got to talk about where they ended up. And of course, I know mine better than I know the rest of them. And I know yours because yours is easy. We ended up. They moved us from 1 to 7. And of course, if we go to 7 from 1, that puts Texas back at 1.
What were y'all before y'all beat Georgia?
We were 4
So you went from 4 to 1 to
to
7.
7. 4 to 1 to 7.
That's a pretty big swing in 3 weeks.
It sure is. Okay. And that puts Texas at 1, puts Ohio State at 2, puts I think Georgia went to 3. I can't on my phone. The list is on my phone, but I can't pull it up. Can you pull up the APP top 10?
Let me see
But
if I can.
I know Penn State's top 5. I
Ah,
know.
there you go. So the order now officially is Texas 1, Ohio State 2, Oregon number 3,
Went to 3.
Penn State 4, Georgia 5, Miami is number 6, Alabama went to 7, Tennessee's at 8, Ole Miss is 9, Clemson is 10, and Notre Dame is just outside the top 10 at number 11.
Okay. By the way, just as a quick side note, Cowboys were leading at halftime 6-3.
It's a good thing they got their field goal kicker.
Yeah. Okay.
Aubrey is definitely helping them boys out.
Yes, he is. So, how do you feel about the movement in the top 10 with the losses and where your team is and where everybody went to? And I know there's to be some more. There's still going to be every week. We're just going to rediscuss pretty much the same thing. But how do you feel about where everybody is
It
now?
looks like to me that the SEC schedule is going to drastically change this throughout the year.
Does that I mean, I don't know, but you're an SEC guy, so now you got to get used to being one of the boys. Does that bother you? That seems like the way you say that, it seems like that bothers you.
Well, I'm just saying, I think it's very unstable right now because you've got 5 teams in the top 10 from the SEC.
Okay. And of course, Texas has one of their Super Bowls next. We get ours toward the end of the season against Auburn. Y'all just play Oklahoma this next weekend at the Red River Shootout. How do you? I would ask you how you feel about that game, but that game is so wonky; it's hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm scared to death because, like I said, both teams are going to come out, give it everything they got, and you never really know what's going to happen. That's the nature of these games. And I'll tell you somebody else, like I said it earlier on the podcast, A&M scares me. A&M may very well scare me more at this point after what they just did to Missouri. They may scare me more than Oklahoma or Georgia because I think we're focused in and we'll get past those two. I could 100% see Texas getting to the end of the year already being in the playoff, win or lose in that game, and going in there and laying an egg against A&M. First time that they're going back and playing them ever since A&M left for the SEC. So,
Right. I can see that.
but that's where my confidence level is. I mean, I think we're going to beat Oklahoma. I
Yeah.
think we're going to beat Georgia.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I'm worried about a little taking their foot off the gas at the end of the year for A&M.
I have a question.
Okay.
Where's that game at? Do you know?
Huh?
Do you know where that Georgia game is off the top of your head?
No, I can tell you pretty quick. Hold on, let me go to there.
Because I believe that's going to be a big key to who wins that game. If y'all are playing in Georgia, I would even right now I would have to take Georgia.
It's at Texas.
It's at Texas, so therefore I will be taking Texas in that game. I know home field shouldn't mean that much, but I think in that particular game, I think it will.
Yeah, no, hey, and then we get the vaulted.
Don't say that. I said that last week, and we got
What?
beat haunted Commodores. So
Yep,
I
Vanderbilt Commodores are coming in after Georgia.
yeah, I'd give anything if they beat y'all.
What a hateful thing to say.
Uh, just not because I wanted to really see y'all lose, just so I could hear. Well, that Alabama loss may not have been so bad now that Vanderbilt beat Texas.
Yeah, yeah, and Texas. If long as Texas takes care of business against Oklahoma and Georgia, they would not only be. We would go into Vanderbilt after defeating Georgia as the number one team in the nation, and Vanderbilt would have beaten two number one teams in the nation. Yeah.
Like we did with the Big Ed, it could happen the same way. That
Uh,
is funny. I didn't think of it that way. Um, okay, so was Colorado off this weekend?
maybe I'll have to look. I was
Okay.
just sitting here thinking about how many number one teams Vanderbilt would have to beat in order to be ranked in the top 10.
Not top 10. It did surprise me. I didn't mention this to my wife, which we don't talk about sports much because she's not a big fan. But I was a little bit surprised that they didn't even cry. I mean,
You beat
they
the
beat.
number one team in the nation and you don't even get in the top 25.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Does that not shock you a little bit or no?
A little bit. I would assume after doing that, you should be ranked. It just seems like everybody's kind of writing that off as, uh, you know, a fluke thing that happened here.
I don't think so. I think they're because they played Missouri close, they played Kentucky close, and then they beat us. So I'm not sure. I think Vanderbilt may be well coached and got a good quarterback. He's definitely better than I thought he was. Huh.
Oh, let's see. Let me look at their
Well,
schedule here.
you,
So
you
they
know the
lost to Missouri, but they only lost to Missouri by 3. They lost to Georgia State.
yeah that was bad. That's a bad loss on the Vanderbilt
Now
record.
they did beat Alcorn State very handily here, okay? 55 to nothing.
Give give you give you a kudos. If you could tell me one famous player without looking it up who came from Alcorn State, and
I
I'll even
cannot. I
and I
cannot
wait
off the top of my
a
head.
hint. He played for the Tennessee Titans as a pro.
McNair, did he come from Alcorn State?
McNair,
Okay.
Alcorn State. See, you can learn something on our podcast.
Yeah. It's pretty rare, but I can.
So I agree with that.
Oh my.
Okay, so but you know the reason I was asking about Colorado, we have to have a small Heisman discussion
Okay.
with the fact that
You wanted to put the Vanderbilt quarterback at Heisman now or what?
no, I
Oh,
wonder if the Vanderbilt lost, how bad you think it hurt Milrow in the Heisman discussion, or is it still too early to worry about that?
no, I do not think it's too early to worry about that. I think Milrow just lost the Heisman.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay, and I kind of, I mean, I don't want to, I don't know that he was ever going to win it, but I really think that I really
After that kind of loss, he's going to do good to make the top 3 to get invited to the show.
to the show. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean I can't argue with that because you can't lay even if you lose, you can't lay an egg if you're the best quarterback in. If you're supposedly the best quarterback in the league, you can't lay an egg against Vanderbilt. I'm sorry. I keep denigrating Vanderbilt, and I don't mean to do that, but Vanderbilt was unranked, and you can't you have to show out and show up against the Vanderbilts of the
Well, and
world.
it's not like they were undefeated and unranked.
No, like you said, they lost to Georgia State for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So, but and then you just add all that up, it just makes Alabama look worse. But it just is what it is. We have to have this. That's what the point of a podcast is, to have these discussions.
look, Texas has to beat Vanderbilt by 30 points.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just telling you that's what needs to happen in order to put all this to bed.
And I was that wasn't the reason I was snickering by that. Just I mean I just got it in my mind. I've got a world where Vanderbilt beat y'all until and just
Oh, and everything turns on its head.
and yeah, that's the world I'm living in right now.
Vanderbilt could beat Alabama at number 1, Texas at number 1. They still wouldn't win the SEC.
I'm not even sure they. I'm not even sure they make the Georgia State laws. I'm not sure they get into the top 12.
No, because I think they've already lost to Tennessee.
Yeah, so I don't.
So yeah,
I don't know if they get the top 12, but they would have the 2 best wins of anybody
in
in
college football, yeah, that's right.
college football. Okay. So my position on that. Oh, let's put. I'll just re-rank it. Remember last week I had Hunter, even though he's idle this week. I had Hunter at 1. I had I had yours and Milrow at. I had Milrow at 1A and 2A or 1A and 1B on for the or 2A and 2B for the quarterbacks, yours and Milrow. Now I have it Hunter, yours, Milrow after the Vanderbilt debacle.
Okay.
For now, he could even further than that if he doesn't for lack of a better way get his head out of his butt. But he can't lay eggs like that anymore because you ain't allowed to lay that many eggs, especially if you want to be considered to be one of the top tier quarterbacks in the country,
Which he does.
which he does.
Yeah, Colorado plays again on the
Who?
12th. This week, Colorado plays against Kansas State, and that's their.
Yeah, heck of a ball game.
They have Kansas State now, and November 16th they have Utah, are their only uh ranked opponents for the rest of the
But
year.
get that, but those are 2 really good ones. K State and Utah. If somehow Colorado could win them 2 games, it would really go a long way to making them more of a household name.
Currently, K State's 18 and Utah's 16.
Yeah, but that's a ranking. I've watched them play the damn games. I'll go ahead and tell you, K State's a good team.
Yeah, and remember, Colorado's already lost to Nebraska.
Yeah, and Colorado's already lost to Nebraska, which Nebraska, I think Nebraska did beat Fresno. That was a good game too. Fresno, I think it was a 14-7 game against Fresno this week. So there's a lot of nuance to all that, but we said last week in that other podcast, the way that for Hunter, the way Colorado goes is the way Hunter's going to go. He can't disappear in big games. Not win the Heisman. He has to show up, show out every single game, just like both quarterbacks do. And oh, by the way, I'm wrong.
Okay. Why are you wrong?
Because I left somebody out of the Heisman talk.
Okay.
That
running back?
Huh?
Did you leave the running back for
Boise State?
Yeah, there you go.
Janty. I don't know. I think I'm saying that right.
Oh no, he's a beast though.
He's a beast. He is a. He is a. He reminds me. Well, I'm sorry. This is not. It's not Homerism. He reminds me of Derrick Henry. He runs like Derrick Henry ran when he was in college. Once he hits that edge, if you ain't in front of him, you ain't getting him.
Yeah, no, I think he's somebody to watch out for an NFL career.
And by the way, Derrick Henry won the Heisman, so I mean there is some stuff to go along with that.
Isn't Derrick Henry the last non-quarterback to win the Heisman?
No, Devontae Smith.
Okay.
Devontae Smith won it after Derrick Henry, so Devontae Smith is. And did you know? Just sidebar on that, we have a whole nother Devontae Smith on our defense this year. We've got our second Devontae Smith. I don't think he'll win the Heisman, but touchdown Pittsburgh.
Bear of bad news over here.
Very bad news. Yep. We had to record this during the Cowboy game for the simple fact that the Cowboy game started way late because of weather. We need to make mention of that.
Yeah, yeah, we wanted to be able to include the Cowboy game, but the way it seems, so what is it? 10-6 now?
10-6 into the 11 something in the. I'm not trying to give exact stuff. I'm not doing play by play because that's against the law. Uh, uh, for me to do play by play of this game. So 11, it's 11 something to go in the third. It's 10-6 Pittsburgh.
Okay. So there's still time.
Oh, I'm not saying that there's not time, but that's why we're recording during the game because we didn't have any choice.
We got to let Aubrey kick 2 more field goals and hold them from scoring, and we can win the game.
Yeah, because we can't score in the red zone. We've proved that already so far. Are we through? What else do we need to say about college football? Or have
I don't
we?
know. I think we just about covered it. I mean,
Okay. Well,
so okay, hold on. So on the Heisman, who's your pick as of right now?
If I was picking today,
Yep.
it would be a real close vote, but it would still be Hunter.
Okay. I think I'm going right now. Of course, I want Ewers to win it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Since he's been hurt, I mean, we'll see what happens against Oklahoma and Georgia rest of the year. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Boise State running back wins a Heisman.
Okay. I can't argue with that at all because he's
Yeah.
putting up Heisman numbers for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean Hunter's going to have to do a lot of special things the rest of the year to be able to win it, just
And
based on being a two-way player.
his team needs to stay relevant. Hunter can't disappear in games. Hunter disappears in games, you can count him out.
Yeah.
When I say that, he has to affect the stat line in every single game he plays the rest of the year to win the Heisman.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's college football. What else you want to talk about?
Well, we need to talk about a little bit of pro. I know the Cowboys and Pittsburgh are playing now, but I want to re-solidify, and I really want to re-solidify the best team in our division, the best team in several divisions, may be the Redskins now. After what I saw today, Redskins are good.
Yep. Are you willing to, so Daniels is pretty much last year's CJ Stroud.
Yeah. I got Redskins winning division, making it in the playoff. I don't know if they'll do the play a Cowboys role or not, and just get in the playoffs and lose one. But it depends on who their matchup is. But the Redskins are good enough to make the playoffs and win.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, they're stout on defense, and their offense is coming together.
I watched the damn game. They got the right combination of players, in my opinion.
Good and they have a rookie quarterback that is still playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, got a good running back, good wide receiver. Like you said, got a good defense, got some good coaching. I just think they got all the ingredients to.
Speaking of quarterbacks playing out of their mind and being rookies, Caleb Williams is looking a lot better.
I agree with that. I don't mind me. Caleb Williams is a good player, but he's in Chicago, so he's kind of until he
Struggling a bunch.
huh.
He's struggling a bunch. But let me ask you this: who do you think probably the worst quarterback in the NFL is right now?
Based off based off of what? Give me what criteria am I basing it off of?
Performance?
Bryce Young.
Uh, I think Bryce Young's numbers are probably better than Deshaun Watson's.
Well, I go okay. Then Deshaun Watson, then Bryce Young. But here's the thing: Bryce Young, Bryce Young was drafted by a whole different regime, coaching regime, general manager, and a bunch of other people. And then that regime was completely wiped off, and a new regime came in, and they basically they didn't have any. I mean, just because he's a little shorter, they have no use. They have no use for Bryce Young at all. They won't call Andy Dalton, and they don't want to hear nothing about Bryce Young.
I
And of course,
think Bryce Young, as long as they don't screw him up too bad, still has a chance to go somewhere and do something in the league.
well, he may have to rehab. I'd like for him to rehab in the UFL a little bit. I want to. I know you don't want to hear it, but I'd like for the UF. I'd like for some of the players that ain't quite seasoned enough to go down and make a little bit because that helps the UFL, and I want to do that, and you don't care, so I'll just say it when I want to say it, and you just live with it.
Fair enough. Okay, keep trying to give charity to the UFL to make them relevant.
Make them relevant. I'm really trying to give charity to my like Mac Jones sitting on the bench behind what I call him Sunshine sitting on the bench behind Sunshine in Jacksonville.
Yep.
Tua Tagovailoa concussion protocol all the time. Bryce Young on the bench behind Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I mean, talk about Tua a little bit. He's an Alabama kid, but
Yeah,
if he's my son, he never plays another down of football.
yeah, but here's the problem with that. It ain't up to his daddy.
Well,
Even though he's Hawaiian and he's all about Ohana, I mean, he has to be willing to quit himself. And if he still thinks he can do it and not be a quote
yeah,
unquote,
but at the same time, you got to understand these athletes are gonna want to play. That's
well,
always been the problem with concussions.
yes, but
Not that bad. I
if
want to play. Somebody has to help him
if the
save
doctor's
himself.
clearing, then it's up to him whether he plays or not.
But it shouldn't. It should be up to the doctors on
Well,
whether he plays or not.
but technically, all they can do because here's the thing: you can't detect for CTE until after they're dead. There is no testing for CTE
I'm
while you're alive.
I'm not worried about CTE testing. I'm worried about the fact that we know what happens. We know that the connective tissue is not as stable as it was. We know that the more concussions you have, the easier it is to get a concussion and the longer it takes to fully heal. Like, we know that. So, as bad as it's been on this kid, take your money and go do something else. Because we're going to end up seeing a horrible scene on a football field if they don't do something with it.
I'm 50-50 on that. I leave it up to two. If he wants to play and the doctors can't tell him no,
I think that's crap because I was young and I guarantee you if it was something I loved and I wanted to do, I would have done it more than I should have, longer than I should have. So that's why somebody else has to be able to help make that call.
guess what the Cowboys are about to do?
What?
Kick a field goal.
There you go.
Uh, so this team sucks so bad. And in their defense, they're awfully injured right now. So I mean, I don't know how much of a defense that is, but they're not. Oh, blocked.
Okay. That sucks. So you're depressing me now, man. That's it. All right. So you've already been depressed after everything that went on with Alabama, and now you're just trying to bring me down.
I'm just,
But
I just kind of just, I just made a comment. Don't shoot the messenger, son.
okay, you got anything else you want to throw in here? Golf, bull riding?
No, no.
Okay.
I missed all the bull riding this weekend. I tried to catch it, but now that it's on a different network, it ain't showing on CBS very much. It's kind of hard to get over there to Merritt because it's on Dr. Phil's channel, and it's just hard to get over there and get to watching it. So they're making it more difficult on me. Is what they're doing.
Okay.
So no golf. Well, um, we're a podcast that talks about sports, and we ain't gonna say one thing about baseball. We are the worst
In the
at sports.
playoffs. No, we're not.
We're
You
the
know
worst.
what? When the Rangers go back next year, we'll be all in it.
Yeah, we're the worst
Well,
sports
I mean, the
pod.
Astros are out.
Yeah,
The
which I don't
Rangers
care.
didn't even come close to
I,
making it,
I
so I don't even care.
the Yankees than I would the Astros. Once you cheat, you're dead in my book. And they didn't get they got really caught cheating. They wasn't PED cheating. They were cheating the game of baseball. They were corking their bat like Sammy Sosa. Uh,
They weren't corking the bat.
it's a euphemism for that they were really cheating with a different version of that. Is what I was getting at.
Oh, okay. Uh, I mean, they were just banging trash cans and
Cheating,
wearing wires or whatever. I mean,
cheating,
they were pretty
tainted,
sophisticated.
tainted.
Hey, what do they say that, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying?
Yeah, the first person that said that on television was
Who
Bear Bryant.
was it?
Yeah,
It seems like some Alabama stuff, to be honest with you.
is. Okay, so nothing. So we're not gonna. We do got we do we do have something to mention on basketball or a small blurb. I think Luka is going in a little bit banged up, tweaked into the season. So I don't know how much he's going to start off right off the bat, but I'm gonna call my shot.
Okay. What are you
Very
gonna call?
extremely. I'm saying Mavericks win the championship this year.
This is
Bar,
the year, huh?
barring one thing,
What?
health. Now I can't, I can't. If Luka goes down and Kyrie goes down and the Splash Brother goes down and Dinwiddie goes down, and we ain't gonna win nothing. But if all our pieces stay healthy that we have now, this might be the best team we've ever had, including the year we won the championship with Dirk. Yeah, I'm talking about the talent on this team.
Maybe. I don't know. That's a pretty
We
big statement right there.
got the law boy. I'm talking about our big guys. I'm talking about our backcourt. I'm talking about our superstars. We got the right mix of people, and I just think I think we will be the representative of the West, barring health, and I think will go to the finals and win.
I hope
And
you're right.
I'm going to go ahead and put it out there in the atmosphere that that's what's going to happen. I'm calling my shot.
Do you think they've done enough to be able to beat the Celtics?
Yes, I do. But that's not to say that they can't still do more. We
I
got to
think after being in a series with them, Kid should have saw enough to where he doesn't get beat like that again.
Well, I agree with that. And trade deadline. Especially if we stay healthy, we'll be completely irrelevant at the trade deadline. We'll make a move that we need to make if we need to make a move. If we're Jalen and everything's great, then we don't need to make a move. Then great, we'll stand pat and go. But I really believe we will be one of the. I think we will be the team to beat. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not just guessing. I would if I can get over there before. When I get over there to a place where I can put my hard-earned money down on that particular thing, I'd make a bet on that, and whatever the odds are.
You think the Celtics come out of the East again?
It's going to be a dogfight between them and the Knicks. The Knicks got a lot better. That trade, I looked into that trade after you talked about last week. I think that trade made them significantly better.
Yeah, no, I do too.
I think that's gonna be a great series.
Mm.
And don't count out the Timberwolves either. The Timberwolves will be there. That's what I mean. I'm talking there with us, but don't count out the Timberwolves. Don't count out. Don't count out who else is going to be out of our side. Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's going to be real good. They're younger. They got more year. Got experience. They're going to be right there. So it's going to be a dogfight both sides. But I'm just saying, I just feel like with what we've added so far and what we could still add, as long as we stay healthy. I know I keep putting that particular, but health goes with any team. But health really. I mean, if we lose a couple of those key players, then this all is for naught. But I can't live my life on health. I just got to go.
Well, you want to put in a shot for the Stars too, or what?
See, I don't know enough. I mean, I know enough about the basketball players to what I feel like I'm making what I would consider to be an educated prediction.
Yep.
I don't know enough. I mean, even though I like the players and I like what the Stars did last year, I don't know enough about the game itself yet to say I'm giving it an educated pick. Now,
Right.
do I want the Stars to win? Of course I do, but I don't have. I mean, you got to be. You get on here and you want to. I mean, I know I come off as a bit of a dummy sometimes, and that's fine because I'm an old Alabama dumbass. But I mean, I'd like to be able to speak intelligently about the team before I say if they're going to, if I think they can win the championship or not. And I really do believe that the Mavericks can win the championship. I think you believe that as well. Or be in the conversation for it.
Yeah, I'm like you. I think healthy, they're in the conversation.
Healthy, they're in the conversation. So that's all you can really ask. So,
Yeah, I think we'll be much better than the Lakers.
oh, I mean, I do too. I'm so we'll see how it all goes. But I'm a I'm a big basketball fan too. I like football. I love football. I mean, it might go in my fandom. It might go college football, NBA basketball, NFL football.
I believe
I,
that. I mean, you already jumped off your NFL football bandwagon and then got back on again. So
well, no, I didn't jump off the bandwagon. I was off the Dak train. You got to quit giving me crap about that. I mean, I have an opinion. I'm allowed to it. I don't like him. You love him. That's great. But the NFL just ain't as exciting of a sport to me as college football or the NBA. It's exciting, but it just ain't as exciting as those two.
yeah,
It
I
ain't
agree with that.
nothing as exciting as hockey, live hockey. I'd never been to live hockey till last year. It is the most exciting live sport I've ever seen.
We need to go to a UFC fight.
Oh my gosh, I don't. First of all, two things. I have two rules about that.
Uh huh.
Number one, really like I really don't like UFC, and I sure don't like. I have a thing about women really beating the crap out of each other. It bothers me. I don't know why. It's not a sexist thing. It's just I just prefer not to watch that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have to watch the women.
Well, just they're on every card now.
Well, either way, I bet that would
Anyway,
be more exciting.
oh God, did hockey?
Yep.
Not me. Not after last year. Uh, so what else? What else do we need to talk about? We got more being on basketball than I thought we would. Because but and of course college football is a week to week thing, and NFL football is a week to week football thing. I do think the new playoff and the new ranking set, the way they're ranking everything, is making college football more exciting. Do you agree with that?
Uh no, college football was already exciting. I mean, they're made the stakes may be a little higher, so there's more fun to play for. But no, I mean, college football was always about upsets and all of this. I don't think it was necessarily. any more exciting this year.
Yeah. Okay. I
Oh,
enjoy.
I would like to give a shout out before we close today. Like I said, I went to a wedding on Saturday. It was a good friend of mine, and his wife did one of the most awesome things I've ever seen, to be honest with you. But for a wedding present, do you know what my buddy's wife got him? Kept it a total surprise
Have no
until
clue.
after the wedding.
You didn't include me in on this, so no, I don't
Okay.
know.
All right. So she bought him a 1969 SS Chevelle as a wedding present.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And he had no idea
Well,
until they went to go out to take all the pictures like they were leaving with everybody comes in. And then they brought them around. And then right as they were coming around the corner, somebody cranked it up and he heard it and come around. But yeah, that was one of the neatest things, man. I was happy to see them get married and finally they'd been together for a while and that was awesome to see. But that was a heck of a surprise that she gave him.
what color was it?
Red with white stripes.
Red, white stripes, fleet car. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanna. I've been telling my wife it ain't gonna happen anytime soon, but I want to get a. I want to get a car for myself. My second car for myself from the year '77, the year I was born, and hadn't done it yet. But I'd like to get one too. So that's cool. All right, well, we better get off here.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and we'll probably see y'all next week. We're going to try to stay on an every week schedule now that everything's kind of lining out for us.
Roll Tide.